From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening of Evenings LA with a 1-hour special report that starts now about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021, direct from Santa Monica, California. On the shores of Santa Monica, California, breaking news tonight, but overseas, the situation unfolding by the minute. As we look at your fourth stimulus check of 2022, the situation unfolding overseas that impacts your money at home. And the issue tonight is very fluid. The price of gasoline surging to $120 a barrel, $105 just days ago, $106 on last night's recording. As the Russian forces have now desecrated the town of Kherson, featured overnight on Evenings LA, and tonight focusing their next attention on another city. Which is it? I have the latest details in this recording. But the question at the moment is the big money. And the great news is that Joe Biden is getting that big money. It's the fourth stimulus recon, the Build Back Better Act, and he said in the State of the Union address, those incredible checks are coming. Thank goodness. We'll go over all those incredible checks, 3 clusters and 3 add-ons that are happening across the board, including those MSCs. Then we'll be looking at CR for Stimulus 1.0 that has breaking news tonight. Is the president trying to take some of your CR money for something else? I have the breaking news you want to hear. Then SS 300, Jay Powell, his determination is to lower inflation. But can President Biden get that swap out from COLA to inflation done and raise your benefits up if you're on SSI before the inflation drops? I have the breaking news tonight. And then we'll be looking at the situation unfolding as it impacts your wallet at home. And the situation is very fluid, as one country could have helped the United States today and world countries to lower the price of gasoline and didn't. Which country is it? All the latest details tonight. And then this town, the beautiful port city, the crown jewel of the Black Sea, the next focus of the Russian government, Odessa. What could be happening in the next few hours at the time of this recording? And the refugee situation growing by the minute. 500,000 refugees last night, 1 million tonight, and potentially 10 million by the end of the week. It's a very fluid situation, and we'll be looking at another industry, wheat, which is going to be impacted by the situation unfolding by the minute. It's a breaking 1-hour broadcast from all the incredible money at hand for your money at home. For Stimulus Recon, third stimulus, paying viewers thousands of dollars, as viewers overnight didn't get 1 round, didn't get 3 to 5 months, got upwards of 9 years of rent assistance. Can you do it as well? You can, because you're the power of the purple. You can do anything when you put your mind to it. I have all the incredible details and all the sadness and all the efforts at hand as we go over what's happening internationally, domestically, that impacts your money on America's #1 most watched financial news show in prime time. It's Evenings LA, and the details start right now. Good evening, everybody, and this is LA, and on the shores of Santa Monica, California, we send our prayers to the people of Kherson ravaged by the acts of war overnight. Featured on Evenings LA last night, this was what Kherson would have looked a week ago. It doesn't look like that tonight. And this is what Odessa looks currently, but may not be looking by the time of this recording when it airs. All the latest breaking details unfolding by the minute, but first we're going to go to your money at home. And the situation unfolding by the minute, very dramatically, but very fascinating, and could get you big checks that you need at a time of economic uncertainty and at a time in which one country, today, had the opportunity to help Americans and did not. Which country is it? All the latest details in tonight's recording. But first we're going to go into the Build Back Better Act, the fourth stimulus recon that the President of the United States addressed, pushed for, advocated for, and mentioned during the State of the Union address this week. 3 clusters of checks and 3 add-ons of checks. They're happening, he said. He made it very clear that everything in the Build Back Better Act is going out. So don't worry about world events. The big domestic policy of the president is on point and is not changing. Let's go over those incredible checks of the Build Back Better Act, how much you're going to get, when you're going to get it, how much is at issue, and what are the different checks across the land. The Build Back Better Act, the fourth stimulus recon, has at least $15,000 of checks, 3 add-ons, and lots of money for you. Single, married, adult, young, you get checks. Let's go into the first of 3 clusters, hazard pay. Got in there. Established under the 3rd stimulus, but expanded under 4th stimulus for the earned income tax credit for my essential workers. 1 more year under 4th stimulus. Then $4,000 of elder care, $4,000 of care for young children. The $550 check for my college students on the Pell Grant, and $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. They got the CTC checks for the children, $3,600 for 1 more year. And they also got the home repairs if you live in a low-income community. Now, when we look at the Build Back Better Act, there's a lot of checks that they're vowing to add in there, and those lots of checks that they vow to add in there include items that come from here in Southern California, and one of them is really incredible. It was added in by Maxine Waters, the legislator here in Southern California, and it's money for the purchase of your first home. Yes, just a little bit less than $25,000 would be given by the federal government to the seller in your name at the time of escrow for the purchase of your first home. That is the first of 3 add-ons of checks to the Build Back Better Act that Joe Biden said during the State of the Union address will get passed. Let's go to the second cluster. Home repairs to weatherize your home and paid leave. He actually mentioned paid leave during the State of the Union address. What is paid leave and how much does it pay? It pays a fortune. It is if you have to stay home due to sickness or illness across the land. $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 more per year. $800 a week if you make $35,000, and if you make $15,000 a year, then $400 a week. W-2, 1099, you all qualify for it. And if you don't work, but your son or daughter does work, then they'll get the check if they have to take off from work to take you to the doctor's office. That is the second cluster of 3 clusters of checks in Build Back Better Act that will get done the president represents. And among the checks that he mentioned in the State of the Union address. What is the second add-on of checks? The second add-on of checks gets even better, and that is the incredible home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. If you get sick and you need home health care, and you're a senior or a person on disabilities, you don't currently have it. Well, a campaign bonus by Joe Biden got it in there, and it's staying in there via Bob Casey. A little bit less than $250 billion. Let's turn then to that third cluster of checks where it gets even better. Free internet got in there. If you need free internet right now, reach out to the Volunteers and Community page featured at the commercial break because it currently exists under 2nd stimulus. They also got in that third cluster, money for farmers, money for independent contractors, money for seniors, and the seniors checks, lots of them. On the House side, they got the Medicaid gap fix, which will provide years of subsidized private insurance to uninsured people in 12 Republican holdout states, and the hearing checks. On the Senate side, they vowed to add in their dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare from 65 to 55. But that's par for the course when we're looking at House versus Senate, because Joe Biden says, whatever you want to put in there, I'm ready to send out. And what else do they want to add in there? Of course, you know the answer to that one. That is the MSC. Senators vow that they will be adding in MSCs to this 4th stimulus recon. So what is an MSC? MSC is a monthly IRS stimulus check that comes out on a monthly basis that is part of additional checks to be added to the recon that already has $15,000 to $60,000 of checks for you in there. Who gets these? Legislators represent to tens of thousands of viewers this channel that the eligibility would be the same as a 3rd stimulus check. Forgot who got a 3rd? Don't worry, I'm going to go over that with you right now. The 3rd stimulus check went out to single individuals, $75,000 less annual income. Married couple, $150,000 less, double it, you got it. Family of 4, here they are. They got it, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security or railroad benefits, you would get it as well. Adult dependents also get it. It's not income, it's not taxable. It's not California stimulus. We get a surfboard, electric one, in California instead. And it is not something you have to refund. As one viewer said, my fiance says I have to return it. No, but you can check the engagement policy, the 30-day return policy on the engagement ring. And how much is that incredible cluster of checks? They represent $2,000 a month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months. This is a body of checks that would be added during the Senate modification of the Build Back Better Act. But there's an opportunity to get you a check sooner than that, and you know what that is. It's called CR for Stimulus. And CR for Stimulus 1.0 tonight has major breaking news, but I'm not worried about it. Joe Biden's back trying to take some of your money. Well, not really like that. What's going on, folks? CR for Stimulus, $1.5 trillion of discretionary spending has been put into a continuing resolution, which has an inherent deadline in just a few days from now. It's enough for a $2,000 stimulus check. And while if someone wants to sort of eat away at it a little bit, there's still enough for a $2,000 stimulus check. So someone trying to eat away at it, yeah, he's hungry. Joe Biden, last week, as detailed on this channel, tried to take a little bit of that money. He asked House and Senate Democrats and Republicans, I want a little bit of that money for COVID. They said no. I detail on this channel. Then, during the State of the Union address, he said, and I'll be coming back to ask for some more money. I thought to myself, he's been watching this channel. He's been watching this channel. He's going to try again. I joked about it last night. I guess I should not have joked about it, because guess what he did this morning? He wrote a letter saying, I want some of that money, again, after he was told no twice. So today he started the day by writing off a letter, or at least his acting director, Shalana Young, head of the Office of Management and Budget, wrote the letter for him to Nancy Pelosi, saying, I want a little bit of that money, that $1.5 trillion for COVID. How much? About $10 billion. $10 billion of $1.5 trillion. One, don't worry, there's still enough for a $2,000 stimulus check. He's not asking a lot. Number two, it's not going to happen. He's not going to get any money, whether Nancy personally delivers the letter herself or not. Why? Because he's already been told no by Republicans and Democrats last week. Now, when we look at the congressional continuing resolution, what are we looking at? We're looking at the history of this channel. In 2020, I made history. You made history. As we got, for Americans, a stimulus check. What happened? In early 2020, we had a first stimulus check. We used it up. We need more money. And then we heard about a second stimulus package in the works. 11 months of negotiations. Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin, then Treasury Secretary. No deal. So I said we have to find something else to put a check into. I found it a continuing resolution called a CR. What is it? It's a budget bill done every 3 to 6 months to fund the federal government. I liked it because it's small, it's just a few hundred pages length, bipartisan support, inherent deadline. So I said, here's my idea. Let's put a stimulus check in the continuing resolution and advocate for it. My creation, and then your advocacy. Purple Power, the community's channel. We, together as a family, made history. The $600 stimulus check went out to millions of Americans because it got inserted into the second stimulus, into the continuing resolution of December 2020, and it went out. We got paid. Guess what also happened? Second stimulus fell apart. Never paid anyone. So where are we right now? 5 Saturdays ago on this channel, I said, do you want to bring it on back? We're looking at Build Back Better Act for stimulus. It's been 11 months. Do you want to insert a check into the CR that now has an early March deadline? Viewers said yes. And here we are. Tonight, the situation is unchanged. And while Joe may have Nancy delivering a letter or, sending it by a horse and buggy, it doesn't make a difference. There's still $1.5 trillion of discretionary funding in that CR, and that money is there at the discretion of cabinet members to spend it, and they should spend it. In the second half of this video, we're going to go over the latest details on that CR and CR for Stimulus 2 and 3.0. But what I want you to know tonight is that the most fascinating situation is what we're looking at when we're looking at SS300. What is SS300? SS300 is the opportunity to raise your benefits up $200 a month if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veterans benefits. It's not my creation. It was created by Elizabeth Warren and then adopted by Joe Biden during his run for presidency and then published on his actual website as part of his presidential platform that he will institute as president, still published at joebiden.com. The concept is to raise your benefits up $200 a month by replacing the benchmark of COLA with inflation. What's going on here? Currently, your benefits go up year after year based upon whether COLA moves up, but COLA doesn't usually move up. So that's why they want to use inflation. Sounds good? Perfect. But there's a ebb and a pull. The ebb and the pull is that we're at record high inflation right now. So you want your benefits to go up now when inflation is high. The concept is very simple. Once your benefits go up, that's your check lifetime. You never step down. If inflation steps down later on, you're still at that higher level lifetime. So you want your benefit to be tied to inflation when it's highest, and it's highest right now. Could it get lower inflation? It will get lower. Why? Because that's the thing that we have to do as a country. And the person behind that is this man, Jay Powell. In comments detailed tonight, I'm going to show you how Jay Powell is bringing down inflation, but not so quickly, and why it's great news for you if you're on SSI and SSDI, and how Joe Biden needs to make that phone call right today to swap out the situation and get that raise of your benefits. Then, we have breaking news tonight, shocking news, as the price of gasoline surges out of control, even worse than last night. In no less than a few days, the price of gasoline featured on this channel last weekend at $105, tonight is at $120 a barrel. I've been telling viewers that anything over $100 is not sustainable. Well, even more troubling tonight is that one country had the opportunity to assist the situation, one of our allies, and guess what they did? Nothing. In the face of Russia's aggression, where prices of gasoline is increasing, one country could have helped us and other of our partners and did not. It's part of the OPEC developing details overnight. You're not going to be happy, and neither am I. But we have other solutions for us across the board. And then, when we're talking about gasoline, it's not alone. Get ready for bread at the supermarket. Yes, the situation of the Russian aggression could next impact grain and wheat, a major export from Ukraine. What's the latest? The latest details tonight. It's unfolding by the minute. And then, big money. Viewers continue to get big sums of money from this channel. And now, more than ever, they are doing numbers I've never seen before. Viewers traditionally would do 3 to 5 months of rent, but now they're getting 1 year of rent, a lifetime of rent deductions. The breaking news overnight will shock you, and you can get this big money, tens of thousands of dollars, in the second half of this video. It's numbers and money you've never seen before. Meantime, we're going back to Ukraine, and you're looking at the beautiful opera house of Odessa, the next target of Vladimir Putin. This is how Odessa looks tonight, but how it will look tomorrow night. The latest, after Gershon featured last night on this channel, does not look like that tonight. What's going on the ground? All the latest details. Then we'll be looking at the humanitarian effort, the number of refugees, and why some countries that have had the opportunity to help people have not. I'll be going over that situation and why they need to step up. Meantime, what we need to do as a family and as a community to step up as well. Of all that breaking news and more about your money. But first, if you need assistance getting money, need assistance from the community page, here's a little bit about the community page. I'll be back in 60 seconds as America's most watched primetime financial news show continues on evenings, back in 60 seconds.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the details continue right now On Evenings LA, direct from Santa Monica, California. The Build Back Better Act will be passed, says the President of the United States during the State of the Union address this week. But CR for Stimulus 1.0, what's the likelihood of that to get a check, and how soon could it be? The latest details on 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0 in the second half of this video. Then we'll be looking at the unfolding situation about gasoline prices out of control. What is the United States getting, and what is it not getting from its allies? You're going to be shocked with the breaking news tonight out of OPEC. Then, price of wheat? Yeah. Not something you would think when you think about Vladimir Putin, but this could be the next casualty, the price of bread at the supermarket. The latest impact on that as well, because of the acts of aggressions of Vladimir Putin. But time for some big money, because later in this video, I'm going to show you how viewers cleaned up overnight tens of thousands of dollars from third stimulus. Numbers we've never seen in the history of this channel, hundreds of thousands of dollars, lifetimes of benefits, and you could be the next. And you're just getting started in a big night across the board of Evenings LA. So go into this video right now and subscribe. You're watching the most watched show in prime time in America for financial news. LALATE. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP, to get that incredible membership newsletter via YouTube or the LA Alerts, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The LA Alerts, a link to which is under the video's description. And with that, let's go into the Build Back Better Act and everything you need to know. Build Back Better Act will get passed, the President of the United States says, and make sure that all those incredible checks are going in there, with every check that a senator wishes to add, including MSC. CR for Stimulus 1.0, however, is first. An inherent deadline just a few days away, $1.5 trillion of discretionary spending in there that could be spent on you. The discretion is the cabinet members of Joe Biden, and at $1.5 trillion, it's enough, folks, for a $2,000 stimulus check. So what you need to do is you need to advocate and pick up that phone and contact your senators and say, hey, you got $1.5 trillion of discretionary funding in there. It's bipartisan support. We've had your support for Build Back Better. It will get done, but we need a check right now. Send that check out and get it out to us across the land. Don't worry about the comments from Joe Biden today, because it's a small amount that he's asking for COVID, and it would not negate the possibility of a stimulus check. Now, that's the offer stimulus 1.0. The situation on 2 and 3.0 is that House and Senate Democrats are trying to, and Republicans are trying to merge two pieces of economic pieces of legislation together. Inherent deadline, not there. Happening, yes, but not right away. The major issue, which is right behind CR for Stimulus 1.0, is the great news about SS200. SS200 is the opportunity to raise your benefits up $200 a month by replacing COLA with inflation as your benchmark. Every year, your benefits go up based upon what's happening with COLA. But COLA is a horrible benchmark because it generally doesn't move. During her run for campaign for president, Elizabeth Warren out of Massachusetts proposed to replace COLA with inflation. I called it SS200 because she also wanted to give you $200 more per month for 6 to 12 months. She ultimately withdrew from her run for president, and Joe Biden adopted her policies. And he didn't stop there. After he won the general election, he published them and said, during my term of president, I will give you $200 more per month, 6 to 12 months, because you're in time of need, and I'll replace COLA with inflation. Well, guess what? You're more in time of need now than then, because then you didn't have inflation. Today you do. Inflation's tracking higher than initially thought, and we have an energy crisis growing as well. So, the great news tonight is that we're perfectly positioned to swap out that COLA for inflation before someone else does something he has to do. What's at issue? One, we can't have inflation high, so it has to be brought down. And who brings it down? Jay Powell, our head of the Federal Reserve. So Joe Biden needs to swap out COLA for inflation now before Jay Powell fixes it. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. The great news is that Jay Powell's new comments this week suggest he's not fixing inflation as vigorously as we may have worried. Where are his comments? Jay Powell has 5 meetings this year of what's called the FOMC meetings. And in those 5 meetings, he needs to fix inflation. How does he do it? In 5 meetings, he raises interest rates each meeting. 5 meetings, 5 raises. But how much of a raise? Before Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine, we were worried he may have 7 raises in 5 meetings. Then we were worried the raises may be more severe, like half basis points. But going into this week, I said that Jay Powell really should say, I'll give you a quarter basis point for the first meeting in March, and after that, I'll look at the situation with Vladimir Putin and assess it. I thought that would be enough. We get certainty that we're only doing a quarter basis point, and that means that our inflation would stay about the same for a few more months. Joe Biden could swap out COLA for inflation, and then your benefits would go up $200 a month, and we would be fine. Well, the news is actually better. Jay Powell gave us clarity that he rarely doesn't do. And what did Jay Powell say? He said, I'm going to give you a quarter basis point, the lesser situation this month of March, and then I'm going to stay with a quarter basis point, a half basis point indefinitely, half basis point, 25 basis point, quarter basis point indefinitely, until the situation changes in Ukraine. Wow. This is the type of clarity you wanted to hear from Jay Powell, and you rarely hear from him. But in times of economic uncertainty and war unrest, he gave you that level of clarity. These are his comments. We're going to avoid the uncertainty as to what is already an extraordinary challenge, an uncertain moment. He said the extent that inflation comes in higher in the future, or it's more precisely higher than that, we'll be prepared to move more aggressively by raising rates more than 25 basis points at subsequent meetings or meetings. But the near-term effects of the aggressions, the near-term effects on the U.S. economy of the invasion of Ukraine and the ongoing war and sanctions remains highly uncertain. And as a result, we have to be nimble to responding to incoming data and evolving outlook. Great news across the board. Translation, Joe Biden needs to make the phone call. Joe, make the phone. You want me to get you the prepaid phone? Here, Joe, make the phone call. What does he have to do? Simply make a phone call. To swap out COLA for inflation, the Social Security Administration can do it themselves. They don't need an act of Congress. They don't need an executive order. All they need is a little bit of encouragement from this guy, your president. He's done it before. He's picked up the phone and called the Department of Agriculture to raise your benefits up for SNAP. All he has to do is do the same thing with them. And away you go. At 8% inflation tracking currently, you go up about $200 a month right now. Then, where inflation is tracking by the end of the year, about another 4%, then you go about another $100. That would be $300 lifetime. I've been right on my inflation numbers since last year, and I've been right on where inflation is tracking March and April. And guess what? Over the weekend, Jay Powell's governors confirmed my reporting again, saying that inflation is not coming down just yet. So Joe Biden has some time and room to make that phone call and get that COLA swapped out for inflation. Now, one of the reasons he needs to get that COLA swapped out for inflation is because no matter how much money I get you from this channel, no matter how much money that this channel brings you, it can't become devalued, the money, if the price of gasoline is out of control. And the energy crisis at hand tonight, folks, is even worse than last night. Worse than the night before. In fact, it's getting worse by the minute. When Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine, first detail on this channel, about 7 days ago, the price of gasoline shot from $100 a barrel to $105 a barrel Brent crude. What has happened in the last 24 hours? Last night on Evenings LATE's broadcast, 1 hour special report, I reported to you that Brent crude was traveling higher very quickly. Last night's recording showed you that Brent crude had gone to 107 overnight and was trending at 106 to 113 on last night's broadcast. What is it tonight? 120. Brent crude today hit 120, its highest level since 2012. This is a result of the acts of aggression by Vladimir Putin. Now, why is this big news for Americans? Because it's not sustainable and would throw our economy into recession, throw our economy into stagflation, throw our economy into unemployment, throw our economy into a situation in which all the incredible money that I've tried to get you would slowly have less value. So, what is sustainable? What is not sustainable? And what are the numbers tonight? Sustainable is $100 a barrel. 6 months, no higher inflation. We aren't holding at $100 is the problem. Tonight, we're heading to 120, and I told you 120 is not sustainable. So, how do you fix it, and what is the breaking news tonight? The breaking news is that one country, United Arab Emirates, had the opportunity to solve the situation today and didn't, even though it's often been an ally to the United States. United Arab Emirates has millions of barrels of gasoline stored, and those millions of barrels of gasoline stored could be released, and then bring down the price of gasoline. Once they release those barrels of gasoline from storage, then they can produce more gasoline. It's a very simple concept. You have a storage room for gasoline, but if the storage room is full, you can't produce more gasoline because you have no place to store it. Once the United Arab Emirates releases some of that gasoline that's in storage, they can go produce more gasoline. So why aren't they not doing it? What happened today? What happened today was that OPEC nations met, and those OPEC nations said, you know what? We ain't helping America. We ain't helping anyone. We aren't even responding to news reporters. We ain't even taking answers to questions. Horrible? I'd like to see your comments in the live chat. Let me tell you what happened. The issue at hand was that the OPEC nations met today, and in view of the situation unfolding in Ukraine and Russia, what they're clearly aware of, they were posed the question of whether to release barrels of gasoline they had from storage so they can make more. Very simple, right? Help people in need, right? No, they said they're not. They said it in their latest discussion today that they would stick to their modest output of production currently, and they would not agree to release more oil. Not good, because countries that are dependent upon oil from Russia, like Italy, need oil from somewhere, and we can't produce enough gasoline for those other countries. We can fix our situation at home, but we can't fix other people's situations. And if we don't work as a team, then guess what? If Italy's economy stumbles, we stumble. If France's economy stumbles, we stumble. And so the situation tonight, not particularly good when looking at countries that could have helped us, like United Arab Emirates and the OPEC plus countries. Here's how it works. It's a very simple situation. The more barrels of gasoline available to buy, the cheaper price it is. Simple? Okay. The less barrels available, the more expensive they are. Pretty simple? Yes. Why is price of gasoline going up? Why are these barrels going up? Because there's less oil available. Why? Because the Russian oil has been taken out of the equation. Now, new tonight, I want to explain something to you, which I haven't detailed before because it's now coming out in the latest reports. The current situation you're seeing with oil prices growing from $100 to $120 a barrel on this channel are not the exact result of the immediate invasion, because guess what? The current oil landing in countries this week was bought back before the aggression started. The real bad impact of the act of aggression will be felt in mid to late March when there's no oil on barges landing in states and countries because it hasn't been bought over the last 3 weeks. That is where you're going to really see the impact, more so than you're seeing it tonight. Well, here's the situation. The situation is that the United States has the ability to ramp up production, but in ramping up its production can't necessarily solve the situation overseas. Let me analyze the situation financially and then explain to you why this is so important. It's important because no matter how much I try, and we as a family try to get our finances in order, if the price of gasoline goes out of control, your value will be diminished and the economy will become unstable. Potential uninflation, potential recession, stagflation, unemployment, default, and if it continues, most of the analysts are now believing that the year 2023 and 2024 will be years of recession in the United States. It's a very dire situation. So what are the opportunities to solve it right now, and what are being done by the administration and what are not being done by the administration? Number one, we can solve our production of petroleum in the United States by ramping up production. West Texas. We have currently curbed the amount of production of gasoline in the United States because of energy concerns led by the progressives who are pushing for clean energy. But we're in an active war at the moment. Not our war, but economic war. And in a time of situation like that, you need to pivot. And that is why Joe Biden made the great comments during the State of the Union address and thereafter, saying he's not adverse to ramping up production of gasoline in West Texas to bring down the price of gasoline in the United States. Good. It hasn't happened yet. Folks, it has to happen now. 120 on the time of this recording is scary. Tomorrow, if it's 120 again, even more scary. I'm scared 105. To think that I'm recording a video and saying it's 120, it can't keep on going. And we're only into day 7, day 8 of Vladimir Putin's act of aggression. Later in this video, I'll explain to you how long this act of aggression may continue. So the pivot hasn't really happened yet with the White House, and it needs to happen right now. It can't sit around. Releasing barrels of gasoline, it ain't working. We have stored gasoline, and releasing it didn't do much. Brought us from 100 to 94 for about a half a day. And when we shot right back up, now we're heading to 120. So that doesn't work, number one. Number two, we need to get our partner countries to get oil from other countries that do produce. Venezuela is the number one exporter of oil, the number one producer of oil. Just like the situation when I described United Arab Emirates. They store it, but they don't have unlimited storage facilities. So if they get their storage released, they can make a lot more. That could solve the situation in countries like Italy, France. Those countries are very dependent upon Russian oil. And while we've tried to pivot and use countries like Japan and China to give oil for these other countries, we got to do a lot more sooner. Because while we can stabilize our economy will struggle if Italy and our partner countries have big trouble because they can't get oil. And the situation is far more serious there because they don't produce it domestically. We produce some. They produce literally nothing. And so that is the situation tonight. And finally, diplomacy needs to be taken front and center. It's unacceptable, in my opinion, in my commentary tonight, that the OPEC nations refuse to answer questions from news reporters, that those OPEC nations literally sat back and said, you know what, we ain't ramping up production. We ain't releasing anything. We're aware of the situation in Odessa. We're aware of the situation in the refugee camps, but we ain't doing anything. Acceptable? Not acceptable. And that is why the U.S. government needs to use more diplomacy to get those OPEC countries to release more production or at least go to someone else like Venezuela. Meantime, tonight, the situation is far more than just oil. Wheat? Yes. You haven't heard it till tonight on Evenings LALATE. Ukraine is a major exporter of wheat, and as an exporter of wheat, that season is currently underway. Farmers are not farming. Farmers aren't planting. Farmers aren't tending the fields, and the entire season is going to be lost. But it may not just be lost for one season. It may be lost for a generation to come. Its impact on our price of wheat and other commodities is far unseen at the moment. Tonight, while we're talking about things like oil and gasoline, there are other commodities that come out of Ukraine that could be far more implicationist to the U.S. economy because of the acts of aggressions by Vladimir Putin. And if the wheat situation gets any more entangled, with very little data still in about it, we could have even more supply chain disruption. And I guess what does that mean? It means more inflation back at home. A lot of situations and why the president needs to act quickly to deal with all these elements and spend less time on Twitter tweeting about buying a Ford electric vehicle at $100,000 like he did last night. Let's go into the big money that though you should be able to get and have gotten in the last 24 hours. I'm really, really excited for my viewers. My viewers, you, the Purple Power community, listen and learn, but sometimes you just defy logic because when we talk about getting money, and I give you time horizons and I say, try to get 3 to 5 months, I say it because viewers getting 3 to 5 months. Not the case anymore tonight, folks, as viewers overnight showed me that they can get 12 months of rent. How about a lifetime of rent assistance? A lifetime of rent assistance? Yes. This is the huge achievement that you, the viewership of this channel, have gotten because of this show, Evenings LALATE. Lorraine was watching the show last night, Lorraine C., and she wrote during the broadcast, in the live chat, "Thank you, LA. Because of your show, Evenings LA, I qualified for a program for rent, and now I'm getting 70% off of my rent for the next 9 years." Not 9 weeks, not 9 months, 9 years, because she was watching Evenings LA. "Then it will become permanent for my lifetime." Incredible. And if you think Lorraine's story is unique, it's not. It's one of countless comments that have come in the last 24 hours. Nisi has a long-standing viewer of this channel. And when third stimulus became a law, she got big money. Like many viewers, the average channel viewer got $45,000. Well, a month ago, I said, go get another round. She got it. You're going to see in a second, she got $10,000. Last night, the night before, she got another $2,000. And she's not alone as well. And then we have Big Garaciti. His comment's incredible. He says, LA, I got my rent paid for a year. A year? Yes. He says, thank you so much for your help. So what is this money? And how do you get it? And why have you not gotten it? And how can you get more of it if you got it before? It is third stimulus. In the thick of the pandemic in 2020, there wasn't a lot of money around. And I tried to find money for viewers where I could find it. And I found it in something called rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance. I trained viewers how to get it. And I said, I have a preview of this new bill. It's called third stimulus, and they're apparently going to have it in there. So I want you to know how to get it when there's a lot more of it. Thank goodness I did, because guess what? Third stimulus allocated a fortune of that money. As soon as third stimulus became a law, I said I can get you about $15,000. I was wrong. The average viewer of this channel got $45,000. So how do you get this money? Get your pen and paper out. We're going to go over all the sums of money right now, and here we go. You want to reach out to 6 places: your city hall, your city house authority, your county hall, your county house authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You must do 3 things. You must get multiple applications on file. You must do multiple rounds. More about that second. And you must apply everywhere. Finally, open that membership newsletter. If you're not a member, go under the video and become a member today to learn about all this incredible money. And lastly, lean on those nonprofits, because nonprofits really help for those incredible sums of money. Now, the success stories coming in overnight, folks, are absolutely incredible, because guess what? Viewers usually get 3 to 5 months of rent, as featured on last night's evening's 1-hour broadcast. But now tonight, they're showing, no, I'm getting a 1 year. I'm getting multiple months or multiple years. Bill Garaciti, 1 year, and he ain't alone, nor is Lorraine. What are the other success stories that are brand new tonight? Karen Phillips, she got 3 months of rent and 3 months of utilities. And she said, LA, I needed it because I lost my job and I didn't know if I was going to be able to pay my rent and utilities. Brian Donahue said, you know what, LA? I got a second round and it's 5 more months. Wow, what was the first round? 6 months? Doing incredible. Needed in a time of uncertainty, when economic uncertainty is growing and the price of inflation kicking in and gas and oil going up, this is the type of relief that Americans need. So get that big sums of money. And how about Nisi? Well, Nisi got $30,000 last year. She got $10,000 last weekend, and she got another $2,000 this week. Nisi, incredible job. And there's Karen. She got $40,000 this week, which included $23,000 for utilities. I can't fix the car, but I can certainly get money in your wallet. And there you go. That is the success stories tonight across the board. Turning back to the situation overseas, what do you need to know and what is happening right tonight? You're looking at the beautiful port city of Odessa, the crown jewel of the Black Sea. And tonight, it's really the next target of Vladimir Putin. This situation is unfolding by the hour and by the minute, and it's very sometimes difficult to make these recordings. Last night's recording was exceptionally difficult. On last night's Evenings LATE, I detailed this beautiful port city very close to Odessa. What is it called? See that beautiful sea? See the beautiful port? See the gorgeous buildings? 300,000 residents at the time. This is not how it looked last night. It's how it likely looked the week before. But tonight, desecrated. It's called Gershon, and is featured last night on this channel. This was then last night the target of Vladimir Putin. 300,000 residents, 120 miles from Odessa. But guess what tonight? Sadly, it doesn't look like this anymore. Vladimir Putin's active aggressions is involving now bombing, destroying towns, displacing families, leaving men to defend a town and women and children to flee to the border. Going one town to the next. Last night it was Gershon, a beautiful town. Look how gorgeous this town is. On the Black Sea, 300,000 residents simply destroyed for the sake of what? And tonight, the next focus, Odessa, even more beautiful. You're looking at the Opera House of Odessa. Look at that spectacular building. It looks like something out of a postcard, something out of a museum. And tonight, we don't know particularly what it will look like by next week. The day started in Odessa with an Estonia-owned cargo ship, Helt, sunk off the port right there in the background, said the vessel's managers. 2 crew members were in a life raft at sea, but 4 are left unaccounted for, says the managing director. The vessel has sunk. It is believed it was sunk by Russian aggression. They have fully come into my city, says the mayor, and the situation is very unclear. Tonight, Odessa is the latest target, 120 miles from Gershon, featured last night on this channel, and very close also to Mykolaiv, which is 45 miles to the north. That also was desecrated by Russian forces overnight. This situation is unfolding dramatically, but this would be a major turning event in the war for many reasons, culturally, significantly, and strategically. Odessa is the #1 largest port for Ukraine. And if Vladimir Putin takes control of Odessa, he controls the economic survival of Ukraine and ultimately the ability to get resources by water to those residents in that country. It's not a good situation tonight. Culturally, it would be a big blow to the Ukrainian people. This was seen as the crown jewel of the Russian Empire in the 1700s, founded by Catherine the Great, and a critical port to the Soviet Union. It is not significant militarily or strategically, but it's not particularly far from the Crimean Peninsula annexed in 2014. Close by, in Poland, the situation is growing by the minute. Last night, I detailed to you that there was 500,000 refugees fleeing from Ukraine into Poland and Romania. Tonight, the number is at 1 million. The number is likely to grow to 10 million by the end of the week. This situation is changing dramatically as the United States has dedicated more resources, both strategically and also human relief, to neighboring countries. But Vladimir Putin, his acts of aggressions have not stopped bombing cities and really displacing entire livelihoods of people. This situation is not getting help as neighboring countries that has often been our allies, that can ramp up oil production and help us stabilize our economy as we battle this horrible man of aggression, have done literally nothing. And then, when we look at the situation unfolding by the minute, while Odessa is not a major strategic a focal point of Vladimir Putin, the question is, what comes next? One of the things that really took place front and center in tonight's commentary that I want to detail tonight is that now as we go into the second week of this, it's very clear, or should be clear, to Americans that this is not a 24-hour event. It's not a 1-week event, and it may not be a 1-month event. The event is unfolding by the hour, by the minute. Millions and millions of refugees will be fleeing a war-torn country. They're being brought to the border by their husbands, who are then going back to fight, not knowing if those husbands will ever be seen by them ever again. In towns in which they are going face-to-face to defend their country against the brutal dictatorship of a man who has no purpose but to destroy in his path. Along the way, we have done some stuff, but as a country, we need to do more. And we need to do more both financially, human rights, and economically. It's at times like this that we also emotionally have to prepare ourselves as a community. And I'm very proud of this family, the Purple Power community, how you have come together in heart and in soul and prepared emotionally for what's on the horizon. Many people born very young in the United States, still young and in young ages, have never seen something like this. Lived in an environment of selfies and everything beautiful, and then suddenly see displaced societies. Others of us are sons or daughters of immigrants, or many of us immigrated to the United States ourselves, maybe because of war-torn issues in our own respective countries. It's at times like this that we need to understand that what we see at a particular day or moment may be far more serious tomorrow. President Zelensky spoke about the situation today, and broadcast media sometimes said they were shocked that his comments were so blunt. But I think they were important to be heard because the situation is very blunt, and the situation is going to get very worse, and there is no particular end in sight at the moment. This is not a one-day walk in the park, and it's not a one-week walk around the circle. The situation is very serious, and I'll be on top of the situation by the minute, by the hour. I appreciate your thoughts, but I wish you to send your prayers for the people of Gershon. It was very hard to make that recording last night because it's the first of many, many towns that will potentially be featured on this channel that look so beautiful. Its inherent beauty and its people and their beauty. And perhaps by the time you see the recording, it may no longer look the same. Tonight, send your prayers for the people of Odessa. And stay with LA for more.